You would have to go over the case, right? Because the way it's been described to me and the way the CEO was looking at it, he was saying that this is fraud. This is like straight out fraud. It's financial fraud, and they were taking clients' money and using it in a way that they were not supposed to. They were funneling it off to Alameda. Yeah. He was not being honest about his connections to that. I don't know all the absolute specifics of the case, but the way it's been described to me is that there is not enough regulation in cryptocurrency, and that these people are allowed to do some really shady shit, and that these people took it to the far end of this.
Right.
And, they were making insane amounts of money, and they were doing amphetamines, and they were hanging out and having this polyamorous lifestyle with these bunch of super nerds banging each other.
You shouldn't go to jail for that. Not yet.
Not for banging each other. No, I think that's fun. I'm happy that they get to live like that. Like these socially awkward weirdos, all of a sudden they're super rich. If they were doing it above ground, rather, everything was cool, I would be celebrating them. I'd be like, yay, look at these. They won. Yeah. But a lot of people lost a lot of money. And, there was also, they were being exposed by competitors, by Binance, and then it turns out that Binance is fucked too, and they're up their ass with a microscope, and they might have all sorts of problems with fraud and all sorts of other things that are being lobbied against them or leveled against them. I don't know. It's a lot of complicated financial stuff that's outside of my realm of understanding.
Yeah, it is interesting because the basic premise, again, I know nothing about crypto, but isn't the basic premise of crypto is like there's no regulations? This currency is outside of, it's not tied to the dollar. It's there's an independence there. Whereas, so you can't compare that to Martha Stewart going to jail for insider trading.
Well,
right?
Yeah. I mean, the Martha Stewart thing is interesting because Congress does what she did all the time. They get access to information.
Oh, yeah, that happened during the pandemic. Yeah, tons of times.
I mean, and it's not just a Democrat thing. Everybody points to Nancy Pelosi. It's Republican. Yeah. It's like literally 100% black and white. I mean, red and blue. It's like across the board.
Yeah.
They're all doing it. And it's just something that I think everyone does that's there. They understand like bills that are going to be passed, and then they immediately start buying stocks. And they've always done that. And it's one of the reasons why they want to be congressmen in the first place. They have access to that information.
It's one of the reasons why they go in with a certain income and leave millionaires.
Not just millionaires, like insanely rich, hundreds of millions of dollars for six-figure salaries.
Wow.
Yeah, look, Nancy Pelosi is a better stock trader than both Warren Buffett and George Soros.
Her husband is an investment guy, right?
Yeah.
Or he was an investment guy.
Well, he is when he works with her.
Right.
Like she knows things, he bets, he places the stock options, and
right, and
then he gets hit in the head with a hammer.
That's also, I mean, I remember like all the senators that pulled out, right, like Richard Byrd and Kelly Loeffler and all these guys, right when the pandemic, and they sold their stocks, and then they said everything's fine, right? So it's like some of it is selling stocks; it's not necessarily even buying them.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah,
it's having information that would allow you to make not just an educated guess, but what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, and you know that because of these decisions that are being passed, that these companies are going to become far more valuable because they've got certain deals, and then you bet on that, and that's what it is. And it's insider trading. We all know it is.
Yeah, it's there's the corruption. But it's also like that because I have a 19-year-old daughter, and she's amazing, and she is not like if I brought up the idea of her pursuing a career based on financial security, she would be offended, and I say that with a little bit of a joke because I also remember like the comedians. People that go into comedy are not like, we didn't know it was going to be this type of business. We went into it because it was creatively fulfilling to get on stage and make strangers laugh. But like there is something, at least for me, having 5 kids, it's like I really didn't care about money. In my 30s, I remember my parents died and people were all my siblings came around, we were getting stuff, and I was like, I'll take the immigration papers, you guys can have the rest. And so like I was the youngest, but like the point I'm getting to, as you get older, once you get a taste for comfort, it's, because I've tried to articulate to my children, money is about freedom. It's like the freedom to like afford to go on a date, the freedom of independence. Like I don't have to ask mom and dad for help. And so, but there is the perspective that changes. And I'm not saying all people, but like when you're 20, all right, do I have enough money to get beer? You know what I mean? As opposed to like when you're 40, you're like, all right, I might need knee replacement surgery. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like there is some, comforts. You like comforts, right?
Yeah. You don't want to struggle.
Right.
And you don't want to be scared as to where your next paycheck's coming from.
Yeah. I mean, I fly, commercial, and I fly, business class, and it's amazing. And I don't, like if I have a gig and they're like, I would have to fly and coach. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of a, it's like, is it worth being really uncomfortable for a bunch of hours? Like I live in New York and I work at the Wynn's a great casino, right? And they have this theater and it's a great thing. And so there used to be all these direct flights from New York. There's tons, but there were some lie flat things. And they were like...
Live flat?
Yeah, so like where it's like the seat turns into a bed.
Oh, lie flat.
And so from New York, it's like a 5-hour flight. And so they essentially started getting rid of those things. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to perform in Vegas anymore. It's like I'm such a baby. I'm like, LA? Yeah, no, there's lie flat. I'll do that. Anyway, I'm just trying to impress everyone with my toughness, my mental grit. Baby can't a baby can't be uncomfortable for a couple hours.
You can definitely get used to comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's probably not good for kids to grow up that comfortable.
No.
It's interesting. It's like everyone that I know that's interesting had a pretty shitty